How you doing, Warriors? PPI, data du jour. Everyone ready? How you, Michael, Brand, AJ, Sinatra, everyone else here? Hope you're doing okay. Some pressure in silver 2 days in a row. I want to show you guys some silver miners. Kind of telecasted it yesterday. Anyway, big move in the dollar. Back at important resistance here. This 101.5. You know, if you're bearish and you're looking for one more low, it's not a bad area. You're wrong over 102. And look at copper still. Okay. So, and euro, just a shade under this major support. So they're going to have to turn the euro if there's going to be that, you know. And now I think you could probably look at this if as maybe a false breakdown trade. Starts doing better than that. Yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. This was before today in the silver. It's a couple of miners that I trade. They really got hammered yesterday. Now, you know, I was looking for these levels, but I thought that we'd be at, you know, $23 silver, that we'd be at these levels. Same for Fortuna Mines. You know, if I didn't think there was more downside in the physical, you know, I'd be probing. Maybe it still is a decent spot between here and 340. Gold shares are holding up better. This is actually turned out to be one of the stars, BTG. And, you know, gold's up, silver's down, gold silver ratio widening out. So I guessed right on that. S&Ps, you know, are you going to get 4,200 out of the way on this week or what? Or are we going to fail here? Most accounts I see say us breaking out over 4,200. Maybe that's a hook. I mean, really for a month, you know, all the way through April, because I remember selling against 4150 and we've had all this action and here we are, you know, near 4150. So with all the movement in individual stocks, the indexes are compressing. So I want to bring in the guys and let's start with Ryan on BOE. Didn't we have BOE last night?
No, we had BOE about an hour ago, and then the press conference is still ongoing, actually.
Okay.
Good morning, Dale. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning, K-Man.
So we had a pretty, well, call it non-dovish or semi-hawkish report. They raised 25, keeping the door open for more, saying that growth is doing a little bit better than expected. But then we always have to take into account that Bailey is the Bank of England's governor and has the power to kill the pound anytime he speaks. We are basically back to where we were before the statement. So yeah, we had a brief look above 126 again in the cable under the next little support.
Didn't we do this?
Sterling.
Okay, man, didn't we do this yesterday?
Yeah, that was yesterday's move.
Yeah,
but
okay.
This morning we had just a bit of a blip, really. We
Yeah,
went down to what, 126, 125. That was in the European morning before the meeting. We went down to 125.65-ish on the cable, and then we had a little blip above 126.
Yeah.
And now we are like stabilizing, waiting for the PPI. It's a bit like the other central banks that we had, Aussie, Kiwi, doing the same moves, and tick up on the decision and then come all the way back to where we were before.
Hey, K-Man, good morning. And good morning, Coach. I wanted to ask you really quick, could you explain to the listeners that are, you know, not so familiar with the Bank of England, why is Andrew Bailey so incompetent in most traders' eyes? Like what is wrong with him as a central banker that you see in your view?
Well, he made, first of all, he made the same mistakes as other central bankers have done, but he's never been able to understand what sterling actually was all about. He's been completely wrong on the economy as well. He's been warning everybody about like very, very tough times. But then when you look at the numbers, the sterling, the UK numbers, yes, they have weakened with other data, but they've never really fallen out of bed. And he had multiple chances to actually somewhere underpin the sterling in a way to combat inflation as well, but he's completely failed and he's a regulator. He's not a central banker.
Yeah,
the guy is a regulator, so he's never going to be expansive or talking stuff up. He's born to regulate stuff and to kick everything down.
Thank you very much. I think it's, everybody needs to get a little bit of context to who he is, because he's so unloved by the say markets community, I guess. So anyway, thank you very much for that explanation.
What are you thinking of cable up here, Blake?
Technically, well, do you see your red line where you got the top right? If you take that red line all the way across to 2020, I think you can see the lows back. If you can, I don't know. Let me see.
What red line? Why don't you just grab them and show me?
No.
You
can.
All right.
Okay.
This
well,
is a weekly.
Yeah. And if you go all the way back in here, I'll just pull up the date. It's back here to September of 2020. That low back in September 2020 is basically the highs from the last 2 days. So anyway, it's hard for me to chase the sterling up here, but I wanted to go ahead and
tempted to short it.
I'm actually not even trading it right now. It's
All
like
right.
kind of off my radar.
Okay.
I'm focused on some other things right now, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But I'll let you guys continue your conversation, and we'll go back and revisit the sterling.
Stel, what do you make out of gold? I haven't seen this in a long time. Gold being up $8, silver down 40. Is it kind of like the break in copper, because silver is more of an industrial, is having impact on silver, with copper leading the way down?
Yeah,
Is that a
silver
good
is,
guess?
you're absolutely right. It is an industrial metal. It does tend to follow, the potential economic downturn is not good for silver. But having said all that, I think what we're seeing is a pullback towards that 2380 to 24 level, which I've been talking about for a while, and which I think will be a really nice retest of the broken channel resistance in silver. So gold is holding up a lot better, and yes, silver is a little,
strong dollar, has everything working against it. Weak platinum even. Why gold? It's a central bank play, or it's the
well, there's been
what
demand
is
for
it?
gold this year from central banks, that's for sure. Much higher than previous years, and that's probably still keeping it a bid, giving it a bid. But we talk about the effect of the dollar and of rates on metals. They're all short-term effects, and but even with gold, with the dollar rallying, gold is still doing very well today.
That's
So
yeah.
I think this underperformance in silver is temporary. I still think the gold-silver ratio is going to break to the downside eventually from those lows, and it's going to head towards 75, which is very, very important support.
We were almost there.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, we didn't quite get there. It's it's a tricky market. It's a tricky market. I think this is a correction in silver and platinum, but specifically silver, because we had such a strong impulsive move with almost no. And if you look at it, the move from $20 up to 26 from early March to early April in 1 month. I mean, that was a big move, and you have to have a correction. And look at the shape of this. This is in my opinion, a corrective move. And you know, I shared the chart on the chat room today. Let me find it actually.
See this 26 right here?
Yep.
And you see this side of the formation before we bottomed at 18. And if we had some type of pullback into the 22 range and built a base, this would look like a nice head and shoulders measuring what, 34. It's an $8 formation. Maybe we get a cup and handle. Maybe we start forming a cup here before the blast off. What do you
Maybe,
think?
yeah. I mean,
And-
my bias is still I'm still very bullish. You all know that. And
Yeah.
but the question is, you know, how do you time your entry? Because you know these
Always a
can
question.
these can move in a really big way. I mean, you talk about cup and handle. Gold has the biggest potential cup and handle if you go on a monthly chart. I mean, in a long-term chart, there you go. That's
is a
one
cup.
hell of a 10-year cup and a, you know,
Okay.
2-year, 3-year
Yeah.
handle. It's looking pretty strong, and we are still about $40 from all-time highs. I mean, even think about what's happened over the past year and a half. You know, all sorts of rapid rate rises. Rate rises, and you know, hawkish central banks, inflation. Theoretically, inflation is good for gold.
Yeah.
Obviously, in the short term, it's not, because the markets say, "Oh, inflation, so rates are going up, so sell metals," which makes no sense. But that's how it is. But I mean, look how well it's traded over the past year and a half. So I don't see anything changed in my view of metals. I think it's a matter of time until they break out higher.
All right. You have that recorded? That last speech, bro. Stel? Am I gone?
Sorry, say that again. Sorry, I had
Oh,
someone
it's
on
okay.
the
I
phone.
just wondered if you had that recorded.
So which one? Sorry, I was on the phone to somebody.
All right, I'm just kidding. Go.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Sometimes I Stel, and then you hit the play button. Anyway, so
You're trying to get a sound bite there, Dale. Good job.
yeah. All right. Anyway,
so would you prefer if you change his mind every single day?
No, there will come a time when I change my mind.
No,
Trust
he
me.
changes
There will
his
come a
mind.
time.
You know, we just, you know, you could have. Don't you have a favorite song?
Not really. I mean,
No?
many songs that I like, but
What's your favorite song?
you know, that's the fun part. Since I was a kid, I could never answer questions like, "What's your favorite color? What's your favorite song?" I mean, there are a lot of good songs, right? A lot of songs I would enjoy very much, and every color, or almost every color, can have a, you know, a nice use to
Oh,
it.
that's so nice of you to say.
That's so unbiased of you, Steve.
I prefer Dale's songs.
That's why he never answers when we're like, "Hey, what
Okay,
do you
you're
want to
right.
trade today?"
My
He's like,
favorite
"Well, you
song is
know."
any song that Dale sings. Okay.
Touche, man. All right. So, what's the expectation, guys, for PPI today?
We're expecting
Market
year on
expectations, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
it's 2.4, a drop from 2.7 to 2.4 year on year. Core CPI is expected to drop less from 3.4 to 3.3. PPI, sorry. Yeah, from 3.4 to 3.3. And the month on month is expected to be at 0.3 positive. The previous one was negative 0.5. And the core PPI is also expected to rise from minus 0.1 to plus 0.2.
So
these are the market expectations and previous numbers that I gave you.
So yeah, 60 bips down from here and then sideways for 3 months. A breakdown takes you down to just equality, gives you a 3% yield. And the bonds are even trying to shape up here. I mean,
keep in mind though that bonds have been trapped. I mean, 10-year US bonds have been trapped in the 330 to 360 range.
Yeah, right
for
here.
For quite some time now, and this is quite a powerful range. So I think anything in between is
Yeah.
a big chop fest and probably not the best idea to trade it.
Yeah, maybe we get a resolution to it today.
Kind
Feels
of
like it.
doubt it that we're going to get it today. Not impossible. I
we'll
think the
see.
chances are not very high though.
Okay.
Because I think the reason we've been trapped in a range is a more general reason. There is a lot of indecision among market participants about how we're moving from here, having to do with monetary policy. Big part of the equation is what is going to be happening with growth. Are we going into a recession? How fast are we going into a recession? There are a lot of big unknowns at the moment, and that makes the playing field very volatile and unpredictable. And I think that's the biggest reason of why yields have been trapped.
You should take a look at copper. It's really suggests that growth is going to be outstanding going into the remainder of this year.
I showed it at the beginning. It's, it's one of the
No, I don't disagree, guys. I also think that we are probably headed into a recession again. The question is when, and the question is when does the market start pricing it in as a higher probability, right? Obviously, going into a recession is going to get yields under pressure, right?
Yeah.
Because
that's why we could go to 3.
Yeah, because that's the usual recipe, at least initially, right? Everybody then discounts huge chunks of quantitative easing, central banks buying bonds like crazy, and that should bring yields down. Of course, in this case, there is another issue. We're going to be going into a recession with inflation being much, much higher than the past few times. And this can steer things up. But initially, the market is always ready to fight the previous war.
Okay. Looks like we could trade, what's that, 387.40. Yeah, under 350 in copper. And the copper stocks kind of reflected this happening too. So, although the market's at new highs, it's 8 stocks, guys. It's 8 stocks that are holding up the whole market.
Yeah, that has been the case one way or another, for a very long time, right?
No, it was broader. It was broader before this.
Yeah, but in general, it's been many years now that in comparison to the past, we have a few stocks that do the vast majority of the heavy lifting, right? Yes, there are periods that it's less pronounced and periods that is more obvious.
Yeah.
Well,
hey, go ahead.
Guys, I want to say the FDIC is to make an announcement on deposit insurance fund today. So you're seeing a bounce in equities right now. Let me just do you mind if I take the charts really quick?
No.
We're seeing some movement right now, so we gotta like kind of focus here on what's happening in equities. If you didn't see what just happened in the S&P, you can see it spiking higher. You'll probably see it in the let's go over to the Russell, or actually be like right there. You can see the Russell popping. You'll see the KRE is bouncing. This is the regional bank index. Pre-market, we were down quite a bit, so we're coming back towards break even. So a lot of people are assuming you're going to see a little save of some of these stocks. Look at PacWest. Or was it? I didn't type that in correct. PacWest was down a lot more earlier. It was down like, I don't know. I think it was below 5. So it's kind of bouncing back. So anyway, what's that?
It's a gap fest.
It will be. And, the thing is everybody's worried about, the banking sector, obviously, and Steve, you were talking about yields. Yields were dropping. They probably just popped just a little bit ahead of the PPI. Yeah, you can see how the 10-year yield just popped up. Dollar yen spiked up a little bit. So trying to, these possible announcements about the FDIC taking some of the pressure off of downside pressure off equities. Overall, is it going to fix the problem? No, I think the banks they're facing an issue where when rates are going higher, how are they supposed to make money. They can't. It's a harder environment for these regional banks that just don't have the portfolio and the tools like some of these bigger institutions like the Bank of Americas and the Citigroup. So anyway,
not to mention the FDIC is like the fairy tale with a king that has no clothes, right?
Yeah, right.
It literally can't cover more than like 1 or 2% of the total deposits, and it's probably already depleted, right? So
yeah, I think who just said it? Somebody. Anyway,
and by the way, that's not a US phenomenon. That's globally. I mean, even in Europe, same deal, right?
Right.
I mean, these institutions like the FDIC are just there to instill some trust in the system. But literally, if the system starts seizing, they can't really cover the losses. Only if governments cover them. You know what I mean?
But we're not in a systematic issue yet. That's the key word. So hey, real quick, we got about 9 minutes before this PPI comes out. Dale, you asked me about, why am I a little hesitant about buying the sterling up here? It is right here. This is the previous low, also previous high, resistance, or excuse me, support becomes resistance, continues on as resistance. We hit it this week. It was yesterday. I think we hit that high. Which obviously if you're in the ForexAnalytix community, you're pretty well aware of that in the chat rooms. But it doesn't mean that I'm bearish the sterling. It's just hard for me to, it's hard for me to get super bullish up here. A lot of banks are souring on the cable up at these levels, but the one that has my attention right now is the euro breaking through channel support. We've been following this channel for like the last couple of weeks. We broke through that support, but what is really more alarming is that you have a shallow retracement, 38% retracement. You see that right here. Okay, so that means shallow retracement brought us to a new low. Now you have this, multiple top. You can call it a triple top, double top. I don't care what you want to call it. We can get a range expansion like this if we have a stronger PPI number. Now, why is that an issue? I think PPI, and I want to hear what you guys' opinions, and we can start with K-Man after I say this. One of the things about PPI that we should be thinking about is that it is, the inflation on a producer level. I made the point on this on the trade-off last night with the trade-off show with Chris Weston from Pepperstone. My wife, she's been very reluctant to pass on prices to her clients. Her just the consumers, right? She's just been eating it, like all the costs that have been going up. She's just been eating it. That's really truly the case with a lot of these companies, but your margins are getting squeezed so bad. If inflation doesn't come down at a producer level, it's going to eventually make its way down to the consumer level, which means that this inflationary pressure that we feel globally, it probably will remain sticky, and that's the problem that I think most central banks have. That's why I think the PPI number could be more volatile than the CPI, especially if it's a beat. Remember, last month it was a big miss, but if it swings back in the other direction, it could be a big one.
Inflation is a leading indicator for consumer inflation.
Yeah. So let's start, K-Man, really quick. I know we just have about 6 minutes before the data comes out. What do you think about PPI, and what's your best idea going into today?
Beat, I think this time could weigh a bit on risk, and then I'm looking at stuff like perhaps the Aussie, the Kiwi, and the CAT on a second thought. But then there's one that really stands out still is the Rand, right? The Rand, not a lot going for it right now. So if you get a beat, if you get higher US yields, dollar Rand will probably break 19. If you get a cool down, then I'd say risk can do a little better, but perhaps take away the yen, because that for me is a difficult one to trade right now, because there's not a lot very clear or clean in there. And as we have seen, rallies in the dollar yen are quickly met with sellers, especially on the crosses yen. So yeah, I mean, trade a bit of risk on the one side, or the weaker ones versus the dollar on the other side. Euro could actually continue to dip a bit because European yields have been slipping and sliding this morning as well. So yeah, perhaps the euro could have a look at 109, 108.60 or so if it's a real beat.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty big risk right now. And you know, the market's really bullish the euro, and it has been for quite some time. And I know you specifically and the guys on the Flow show with Stelios and Ryan. Ryan's off at a football game right now. I think he's got a West Ham game he's attending. You guys have been talking about how, you know, the market's pretty long euros. So you know, maybe some of that bullishness will come out. So thanks for your thoughts there. Stelios, what do you think about PPI as we head into this data, and what's your best idea going into today?
I mean, difficult to guess a number, right? But I'm just going to stick with what the trend has been, which is for inflation measures, whether it's leading or lagging, they come in soft. So I think we probably see, I said yesterday, I said, I think 4 handle for CPI, we came in at 4.9. I think 0.1 or 0.2 lower on the year is probably the most likely scenario for PPI. Trade-wise, it's a tough one. I still think the path of least resistance for risk is higher. And for that reason, I think the euro dollar is probably a buy on dips. Because you know how equities and the dollar are they move in opposite directions, right? So it's theoretically. So if the S&P goes higher, theoretically the euro dollar should also be correlated higher. So, but I don't have a major position. I still have my silver longs. I want to add my last third that I sold in the kind of mid to highs 25s. I want to add it at between 23.8 and 24 if we get there. I'm still waiting for the market to come to me, and I'm trying not to get ahead of myself. And yeah, but otherwise I don't have any other great ideas, I'm afraid.
You know, silver, just taking a quick look at silver, you know, we hit the 127% extension at 26. I'm actually quite surprised we haven't broken out. One of the things that, you know, you can see if you connect this previous high back in August of 2020, some of the spike highs through here and where we're at, we're kind of stalling. I would be a little nervous if we broke back below 24.50. That would kind of freak me out. I think and I'm not trading silver. I'm just saying, just from technically speaking, I'd be a little worried about that. 23.80,
24, I think is the area of interest.
Okay.
As long as we're above that, I think it's trading still pretty bullish.
Okay. Steve, do you have any thoughts on PPI today?
I don't know if he's here. He had to go for a bit. I don't know if he's back.
He had to run out. Okay, Dale, we got just a few minutes, minute and a half before PPI. Any thoughts here?
The dollar is back up against resistance. I still have a bias to want to sell the dollar with stops closing over 102. And not only just getting out of shorts, but reversing and getting long if that happens.
Okay, so you're still looking for a dollar to come down, and then you want to be a buyer on a break below the lows. But man, I don't know if this number is going to get us out of its range.
Yeah, but if it closes over 102, I'd reverse from short to long.
All right, guys. And hey, I just want to make sure I mentioned, if you guys haven't seen copper is just absolutely getting destroyed. We're at a 50% retracement. I tweeted about it just a bit ago, which, you know, I'm short some Aussie yen, I'm short Euro yen. And, you know, if we go plowing through those lows today, I'm probably going to be adding to those trades as well. I still like focusing on the Euro yen to the short side, as I'm a little bit more bearish the Euro. But let's see what comes out with the PPI numbers here. We have that data will come out. This is the data flash that comes with ForexAnalytix. You got yields over to the right, S&P right in the middle, and then the dollar index to the left, all 15-minute charts. Let's see instant reaction here in the markets. Yields look so heavy.
Yeah,
I'm surprised.
3%.
Man, on the 10-year, just ugly. All right, yell it out if you see it. About 8, 7, few seconds to go.
Let's see.
Let's see. Drum roll, please.
Oh, 3.2. See, 0.1 lower.
Friendly.
Oh,
The
yeah,
trend
look.
continues.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm on a roll.
Hey, you are. And you know, the dollar yen's breaking lower a little bit here. Stocks are enjoying that little, you know, pullback in CPI. Look at the yields coming off really quick. So
pretty weak jobless claims.
wait, what did the jobless claims come in at? I wasn't even.
264.
Oh yeah, 20K more.
Ooh, wow. It's that gets a little dicey for the jobs market, doesn't it? You know, we haven't seen that weekly jobless claims come in at these levels in a while, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, dollar index under a little bit of pressure. Let's see if that euro can get back up to the underside of this channel here. Like I said, I still like playing this euro yen to the short side. I still think it looks great. And we're breaking in new lows. Look at the, you know, bear flag pattern, head and shoulder pattern. We snap this neckline right here, and we should see 145. So that's 146.30, another 130 pips, and that bear flag will complete. Just a little heads up for those of you trading around the euro yen with me. You can see it's in an ascending channel, but I think we'll see this channel bottom once again.
Nice trading, Blake.
Thank you. I'm just, you know, I'm trying. I actually, you know, after being on the wrong side of the yen pairs following the BOJ Ueda's first press conference, I'm, you know, had to put my wheels back on straight. So, you know, hopefully I can.
Doesn't that happen that sometimes you have to be the wrong way in the market to know to be the right way?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's self-correcting, right? Because when I was coming off a really, really great win streak, and then, you know, all of a sudden I get wrong-footed because I get a little too cocky. Then you kind of got to get, you know, the market always shows you who's boss, right?
Hubris, yeah.
Yep. There's a good friend of mine and one of my kind of life mentors. He does, you know, you always ask him every day, how you doing? He's like, I'm just trying to, you know, stay humble so I don't fumble. And that's what he said to me pretty much every day. So anyway, I want to say thank you all for listening in. One of my favorite technicians is coming on right now.
He's not here.
He's not?
They're having power grid issues in Mumbai.
Oh, no way. He just retweeted. I thought I was really looking forward to him being here. So power grid issues.
So I'm trying to reschedule him for next week.
Well, how do you do we short the rupee? I mean, you know, right now, K-Man shorting the rand. I'm shorting the rand. They're having power issues. Let's short the rupee.
Well, you could wait and short the dollar. We're going to have power issues here.
Oh yeah, I guess going into.
He says update: Mumbai has suddenly seen power outages since yesterday. It's rare, but happened repeatedly. Just in case it does not return to normal, I will be unable to do today's session.
It's rare, but happens repeatedly. That's a contradiction.
In this instance, it kept happening.
That's what
it's like saying.
That's what Greeks say about striking.
I'm always correct 60% of the time.
Well, all right. Hey guys, since Rohit's not going to be here, and we've got. Let me just confirm this really quick. K-Man just stepped out. Last minute ideas I want to give you, and I did tweet this morning, and I want to talk a little bit about this because the dollar MEX has not. You want to see something crazy? Check out this chart. Look at the dollar Mexican peso versus the rand. I mean, this chart's zonkers out of control, right? But look at this here. Okay. Couple things, right? So we're getting towards really stretched levels. You're seeing these emerging market currencies like the dollar Mexican peso has not been acting like the US dollar South African rand. But the rand is moving higher. Dollar MEX I think has found some pretty key support. The 127% extension. Daily sentiment index is really, really lopsided right now. Too many bulls.
Throw over, bro.
Well, we might have a throw over, but more importantly is the Mexican yen. And this one, let me pull it up really quick. This is the chart that I think should have everybody's attention right now. is the Mexican yen. Let me go over to the daily chart, do this. I can't even trade this one. So some of you can, but my brokers don't allow it. What we're making is a lower high here today. And so that's would suggest that the dollar Mexican peso finds a bit of a bid. Now, if we get back above like 1780, we should see a squeeze. So just keep the dollar Mex on your radar. Obviously, I'm trading long dollar rand. These emerging market currencies, if equities do come under pressure, I mean, you see where the dollar rand could go over time. You have to carry it, so it's more expensive to carry it. But if you made it through last night, you're going to make it through this week on the carry. So that's some of my ideas going into today. Steve, any last minute ideas here? Thoughts about something for the traders here? Okay,
it's gone. It's gone.
He might be gone. Stelios,
That's
penny
one
for
of
your
his
thoughts.
best ideas ever. No, I don't really have anything new to say. Sorry, no. I still think I'm a buyer of the pound on dips. I have to say that.
Okay.
Still,
all right. Okay.
still.
Okay.
Prefer to buy against the dollar, but I will sell euro pound on rallies as well.
I was gonna
like
say,
the pound.
I was going to say, you see the euro sterling. I mean, it was a really key rejection last night. You know, at this 87 yen or 87 pence level. I mean, this is the breakdown point, right? So we couldn't make it back above 87.20. And, you know, if ForexAnalytix subs already know that we're just, you know, continue to target to the downside on the euro sterling. As you can see right here, you know, we continue to target to the downside, but we did have divergent relative strength this morning. You can see it right here. And that meant that, you know, we might get a little bit of a bounce, but I'm with you, Stel. I think you continue to sell it while you're below 87.20. So Dale, what's your best idea today?
Short the dollar index. You could probably use stops over today's highs now.
Okay. All right. So it stops above today's highs. You know, you're going to weigh in on the
looking for new lows. Yeah.
Looking for new lows. Or is that going to finally break us out of this silly range that we're in?
Yeah, because you know that rectangle is not a bottom. I've rarely seen a market bottom on a rectangle without a flush. So I'd like to see the breakdown and then a false breakdown ending up occurring for an important turn in the dollar. All
right. Very good. All right. You know, I just
by the way, guys, one last thing. I don't know if you saw the comments by Jamie Dimon, who said
no.
Commercial just a few minutes ago, commercial real estate and office loans are an issue. And he also said commercial real estate losses may take a few banks down. He says very nonchalantly, you know, big words.
Yeah. And he says he does not expect the U.S. to default. That's an interesting.
I agree with that.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know, a lot of people are going to disagree with him in this political climate. So, and by the way, we are getting really close to us running out of time to put together a deal here. So, the headlines might be moving the markets, especially when we're talking about the debt ceiling. You know, like I said, we're running out of days for Congress to come.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna.
I have a song for the debt ceiling.
Go on,
sing it.
16 tons. What do you get? Another day older and you're deeper in debt. St. Peter, don't you call me, 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store.
Dale, I just picture you in the evening sitting on your porch with the guitar and a jug and a beer, or maybe 10 beers.
Yeah, all my neighbors moved away. All right. Anyway, guys, thanks. Good luck to the rest of the day. We'll wrap the week with you, and really consider becoming part of the best community. Do it for yourself. And Dream Team, see you guys tomorrow to wrap it all up.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you very much, Dale. Thanks everybody for being here today. We appreciate you all. So thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Adios.